Hello, welcome to another edition of PBS. We are about to go into a wonderful world of the female reproductive system. Because as some of the viewers might know, not everyone knows about it, especially some other genders. For instance, guys, we just don't understand stuff. We tend to try to avoid it, you know. When you girls say, oh, it's that time, that's when we try to say, oh, we're going to go hang out with our friends for a week. So, to help the other side, this is a documentary to explain, and for that way your man will understand you more. Alright, thank you.
Hey, I'm Cairo. Well, I'm here at the TSA hospital, you know, trying to avoid some things with a girlfriend, you know, that once a month kind of thing. So I came to, you know, Nico, a very special gynecologist to help me out with my journey. So hopefully he can help me. Here we go. Hey.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good, So, would you like to come in?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Papanicolaou. I just had some questions about female reproductive system. What does it even do?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Well, the female reproductive system provides several functions. The ovaries produce the female egg, called the ova or the oocytes. And then they are transported to the fallopian tubes where they fertilize the sperm that may occur. The fertilized egg then moves to the uterus where the uterine lining has thickened in response to normal hormones of the reproductive cycle. Once in the uterus, the fertilized egg can implant into thickened uterine lining and continue to develop. If fertilization does not take place, the uterine lining is shed as a menstrual flow. In addition, the female reproductive system produces female sex hormones that maintain the reproductive cycle.
Wow. Okay, cool. Well, like, I've heard this stuff about, like, external and internal structures. Like, what is that?
So, the external structures of the female reproductive system is the labia majora, which is here, and the labia minora, which is inside. The labia majora, the large lips, is enclosed and protects the other external reproductive organs. During puberty, hair grows, occurs, and the skin of the labia majora, which also contains sweat and oil secretion glands. The labia minora, which is called the small lips, can have a variety of sizes and shapes. They lie just inside the labia majora and surround the opening to the vagina. And the urethra, the skin is very delicate and can become easily irritated and swollen. The Bartholin's glands, these glands are located next to the vaginal opening on each side and produce a fluid secretion. The clitoris, the two labia minora meet at the clitoris, a small sensitive protrusion that is comparable to the penis in males. The clitoris is covered by a fold of skin called the prepuce, which is similar to the foreskin at the end of the penis. Like the penis, the clitoris is very sensitive to stimulation and can become erect. The vagina is a canal that joins the cervix to the outside of the body. It is also known as the birth canal. The uterus is a hollow, pear-shaped organ that is a home to developing fetus. The uterus is divided into two parts. The cervix, which is the lower part that opens into the vagina, and the main body of the uterus called the corpus. The corpus can easily expand to hold a developing baby. A channel through the cervix allows the sperm to enter the menstrual blood to exit. The ovaries are small oval-shaped glands that are located on either side of the uterus. The ovaries produce eggs and hormones. The fallopian tubes are narrow tubes that are attached to the upper part of the uterus and can serve as tunnels for the ovum. To travel from the ovaries to the uterus. Conception, the fertilization of an egg by a sperm normally occurs in the fallopian tubes. The fertilized egg then moves to the uterus, where it implants into the lining of the uterine wall.
3.
Wow. Alright. Okay, so if you have all that, then, don't you need, procedures and exams that need to be done on her?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. There are many different surgeries that a girl can have, and one of them is a colposcopy, using a magnifying instrument to inspect the interior of the vagina and cervix, the entrance to the uterus. Then you have the pudendal block, an anesthetic administered to block sensation around the lower vagina and perineum. This facilitates performing an episiotomy, allowing the passage of the baby's head while avoiding uncontrolled tearing of the tissue. By the way, pudendal, an ancient name for the external genitalia, means that which we should be ashamed of in Latin.
So if you do all that, doesn't that mean, she could possibly have a disease or something? What are some diseases?
I'm glad you asked that question, because I had a case today, and I'd like to talk about that. This girl had a pelvic inflammatory disease, also known as PID. You see, although males have a closed abdominal cavity, the female abdominal cavity has a direct anatomical path from the outside world via the female reproductive tract, and bacteria can make their way up the vagina through the uterus and traverse the uterine tubes which open into the abdominal cavity. Inflammation of the lining of the abdominal cavity, the peritoneum, causes abdominal pain. Although there are many potential cases of PID, gonorrhea infection is one of them. Chronic inflammation of the uterine tubes can occlude them, resulting in infertility.
Alright, what's the whole process of the menstrual cycle, you know what I'm talking about? The menstrual cycle, the period and the blood and all that, I don't know, all that stuff, what is that?
Well, you see, to better understand your girlfriend, we do need to know about the menstrual cycle. So, the females of the reproductive age between 11 to 16 years of age experience cycles of hormone activity that repeat about 1 month intervals, menstrual meaning monthly, hence the term menstrual cycle. With every cycle, a woman's body prepares for a potential pregnancy, whether or not that's the woman's intention. The term menstruation, refers to the periodic shedding of the uterine lining. The average menstrual cycle takes about 28 days and occurs in phases: the follicular phase, the ovulatory phase, and the luteal phase. There are 4 major hormones involved in the menstrual cycle: follicle-stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, estrogen, and progesterone. The follicular phase, this phase starts on the first day of your period. During the follicular phase of the menstrual cycle, the following events occur. 2 hormones, follicle-stimulating hormone, known as FSH, and the luteinizing hormone, known as LH, are released from the brain in the blood to the ovaries. The hormones stimulate a growth of about 15 to 20 eggs in the ovaries, each of its own shell, called the follicle. These hormones, FSH and LH, also trigger an increase in the production of female hormone estrogen. As estrogen levels rises, like a switch, it turns off the production of follicle-stimulating hormone. This careful balance of hormones allows the body to limit the number of follicles that will prepare eggs to be released. Also, the follicle phase progresses. One follicle in one ovary becomes dominant and continues to mature. This dominant follicle suppresses all of the other follicles in the group. As a result, they stop growing and die. the dominant follicle continues to produce estrogen. Now, the ovulatory phase, ovulation, starts about 14 days after the follicle phase started. The ovulatory phase is the midpoint of the menstrual cycle, and with the next menstrual period starting in about 2 weeks later, during this phase, the following events occur. The rise in estrogen by the dominant follicle triggers a surge in the amount of luteinizing hormone that is produced by the brain. This causes the dominant follicle to release its egg from the ovary. As the egg is released, a process called ovulation, it is captured by finger-like projections on the end of the fallopian tubes. Fembria. The fembria sweep the egg into the tubes. Also during this phase, there is an increase in the amount of thickness of mucus produced by the cervix. The luteal phase begins right after ovulation and involves the following process. Once it releases its egg, the empty ovary follicle develops into a new structure called the corpus luteum. The corpus luteum secretes the hormones estrogen and progesterone. Progesterone prepares the uterus for the fertilized egg to implant. If intercourse has taken place and one sperm has been fertilized, the egg, called conception, the fertilized egg, embryo, will travel through the fallopian tubes to implant in the uterus. The woman is now considered pregnant. If the egg is fertilized, it passes through the uterus, not need to support its pregnancy. The lining of the uterus breaks down and sheds, and the next menstrual cycle begins. I have a video that will help you understand this a little bit more.
You know, this really helps. Thank you.
You're glad.
You know, I don't know. I'm gonna talk to my girlfriend now because I finally understand what she's going through.
Good. It's important for young people like you to understand, you know, because girls have it tough.
Yeah, and it's good that the boyfriend knows.
It is very good that the boyfriend knows. So,
thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, you're gonna make the call now.
That call.
Babe? Hey, how you doing? So I went to the doctor's today, you know, to really think about what you told me today. You know, I think I'm gonna come over tonight, you know, because, you know, you weren't feeling well and, you know, the mood or whatever. I understand. So I'm gonna bring you some chocolate and ice cream and we can cuddle or watch a movie or something, alright? Alright, love you too. Bye.
Well, I hope you have learned some vital information. And please, if you're a guy, be respectful. And realize that your girl is going through something that we have no clue about. And thank goodness we don't. Because some of the things is just like, dang, you know? So please, be respectful and take care of your girl. This has been a public announcement by the King, Nico.